Run or you're dead. Jacob's own voice echoes in his head. As he stumbles across the prairie, the sun sinking low, painting the sky red. Blood drips from his shoulder, staining his torn shirt, each step heavier than the last. Horses thunder behind him, their hooves pounding the earth. Like a drumbeat of doom, his boot catches on a root, and he tumbles hard into a shallow ravine, the world spinning black. When his eyes flutter open, a woman stands above him, her silhouette sharp against the fading light. She's Sioux, her bow drawn tight, arrow aimed at his chest. Her name is Tala, though he doesn't know it yet. Her eyes lock on his, fierce and unreadable. Then she lowers the weapon just a little. The wind sweeps through the tall grass, whispering secrets he can't understand. Who is she? And why does she hesitate when she could end him right now? Jacob jerks awake, his breath catching in his throat. His head throbs like someone's pounding it with a rock, and his shoulder burns under a tight wrap of rough cloth. He's lying on a woven mat, the ground hard beneath him. The air smells of smoke, leather, and something earthy. He can't name. Shadows flicker on the curved walls of a lodge, lit by a small fire crackling in the center. His shirt hangs loose, stained dark with dried blood, but the wound isn't bleeding anymore. He's alive. That much he knows. But where he is and how he got here remains a blur. A woman kneels a few steps away, her back straight, her hands busy with the fire. She's Tala, though Jacob doesn't know her name yet. She's a Lakota Sioux warrior, fierce and sure, with eyes that cut through the dim light, like a hawk spotting prey. Her hair is braided tight, falling over one shoulder, and a small knife rests at her side, glinting as she moves. She's not soft or gentle. She's the kind of person who listens to the wind, reads the tracks in the dirt, and knows the secrets of this wild land. This is her home, her people's land, and she guards it with every breath. Across the lodge, another figure sits still, watching Jacob, with a gaze that feels heavy. That's Koda, Tala's brother. He's older, his face lined with quiet strength, his dark eyes deep with thought. He doesn't speak at first, just stares, weighing Jacob like a hunter sizes up an animal. Koda carries the wisdom of the Lakota, passed down through stories and seasons. He doesn't trust easily, and Jacob can feel it. The silence stretches, thick and tense, until Jacob shifts, wincing as pain shoots through his arm. Memories flood back in jagged pieces. He's Jacob, a geologist, barely past his 25th summer. He works for a company with big plans, men in suits, who dream of tearing up the earth for gold and glory. He's smart with maps and rocks, but out here, he's a child lost in the wild. He remembers the prairie, the chase. His own crew turned on him, men he once called friends. Their voices shouted through the dusk, their horses kicking up dust as they hunted him down. He'd found something they didn't want anyone to know. A vein of gold, shimmering under this very land, Sioux land. They shot at him, the bullet ripping through his shoulder. He ran until his legs gave out, tumbling into that ravine. Then nothing. Tala saved him. She must have found him, dragged him here, patched him up. Jacob looks around, taking in the lodge. The walls are sturdy, made of hides and wood, decorated with faint patterns he doesn't understand. A few bowls sit near the fire, and a bundle of dried grass hangs from a pole. This is no camp he's ever seen before. He's deep in Lakota Sioux territory, far from the trails and towns he knows. His heart sinks as he realizes the truth. Those men, his old crew, won't stop. They want him dead, to keep their secret safe, to claim the gold for themselves. Koda finally speaks, his voice low and steady. Like a river over stones, he says Jacob can't leave. Not now, maybe not ever. If he goes, he could bring those hunters straight to this camp, to these people. Jacob's stomach twists into a knot. He's a prisoner, caught in a world he doesn't belong to. He tries to sit up taller, but his body protests, weak from blood loss. Tala stands, brushing her hands on her leggings, and steps closer. Her eyes lock on his, unreadable but firm. She says she'll test him. She wants to see if he's worth the trouble, if he's more than just another white man, with greedy hands and empty promises. Jacob swallows hard, his throat dry as dust. He looks from Tala to Koda, then back again. The lodge feels smaller now, the walls closing in. Outside, he hears faint sounds, a horse snorting, a child's laugh carried on the wind. There's a whole village out there, people who don't know him, don't want him. He's alive, yes, but for how long? Every eye in this lodge waits for his next move, and he's not sure he has the strength to prove anything. Tala crosses her arms, her stance wide, like she's rooted to the earth itself. Koda leans forward just a little, his silence louder than words. Jacob takes a shaky breath. Whatever comes next, he knows one thing: he's in their hands now. The sun climbs high over the prairie, baking the endless grass until it shimmers gold. Tala leads Jacob out of the village, her steps quick and sure, like she's part of the earth itself. He stumbles behind, his boots clumsy on the uneven ground, his shoulders still sore from the wound. She doesn't wait for him to catch up. She says he needs to learn and fast if he wants to live out here. First, she points to a patch of dry dirt, cracked and lifeless. She kneels, digs with her hands, and pulls up a handful of damp soil. Water hides below, she tells him. He tries it himself, fingers fumbling, dirt smearing his palms, until a trickle of muddy water pools in the hole. His face lights up, surprised it worked. Tala doesn't smile, but her eyes soften just a little. Next, she stands still, head tilted, listening to the wind. It rustles the grass, bends the stalks, and carries a faint howl from somewhere far off. She says the wind talks, tells you where the deer run, where the wolves hunt. Jacob squints, unsure, but he tries anyway. He closes his eyes, feels the breeze on his face, hears a bird call sharp and quick. He guesses it's a hawk. Tala nods once, a small sign. He's not hopeless. Day by day, she shows him more. How to spot a rabbit's twitch in the brush, how to know rain's coming by the smell in the air. He's awkward at first, tripping over roots, missing every sign she sees so easily. But slowly he starts to feel it, the way the land moves, breathes, lives. It pulls him in, this quiet dance between the Sioux and the world around them. Back at the lodge one evening, Koda sits with him by the fire. The flames crackle low, casting shadows on his face. He speaks soft and slow, words heavy with meaning. He says everything has a spirit, the grass, the wind, the river, even the rocks under their feet. Humans don't rule it, he explains. They're just a thread in a big circle, tied to all of it. Jacob listens, his mind turning. He thinks of his old life, mapping land to rip it open, to take without giving back. It stings now, that memory. He asks Koda why they don't just claim it all, build walls, keep it safe. Koda shakes his head. The land isn't theirs to own, he says. It's theirs to guard, to share with the spirits who came before. Jacob stares into the fire unsettled, feeling small for the first time. One morning, Tala takes him to a hill beyond the village. It's steep, dotted with stones worn smooth by time. She calls it sacred, a place where her ancestors listen. She kneels, lays a small bundle of sage on the ground, and murmurs words Jacob doesn't know. The air feels thick, alive, like it's watching them. She tells him to sit, to feel it. He does, awkward at first, legs crossed on the hard earth. Then something shifts, a warmth creeps up his spine, not from the sun, but from somewhere deeper. He hears the wind again, softer now, like voices weaving. Together his chest tightens, his breath catches. He's never felt anything like this, a pull that reaches past his skin into his bones. Tala watches him, says nothing, but her look tells him she knows. Days later, dark clouds roll in, heavy and fast. The village buzzes with worry, the air sharp with the promise of a storm. Jacob steps forward, hesitant but sure. He remembers his old work, reading the land's shape, guessing where water flows. He points to a low ridge nearby, says it'll shield them if they move the camp there. Koda frowns, doubtful, but Tala nods, trusting him this time. They shift the lodges just before the sky splits open. Rain pounding the earth, wind howling fierce. The ridge holds, keeping them dry. When the storm passes, the people look at Jacob different. Koda claps his shoulder, a rare gesture. Tala meets his eyes, a spark of respect there. He's still an outsider, but he's starting to belong. Dust rises on the horizon, a thin gray line creeping closer, under the midday sun. Tala spots it first, her eyes narrowing, as she stands at the village edge. She knows that cloud means trouble, riders coming fast. Jacob follows her gaze, his stomach dropping like a stone. He recognizes the sound. Soon after, the faint thud of hooves, the clink of metal. It's them, his old crew, the men who shot him and left him to die. They found the Sioux camp. Word spreads quick through the lodges, voices low and urgent. Tala says, they're armed, ready to kill him and take the land for the gold he uncovered. The village grows tense, every face hard with worry. These aren't just hunters. They're men with guns, greed, and no mercy. Jacob steps back, his heart pounding loud in his ears. He sees the rifles slung over shoulders as the riders slow near a ridge, their shapes sharp against the sky. 5 of them, maybe 6, their leader barking orders. Jacob can't hear. They want him dead to bury the secret. But now they've seen the camp, the land's too rich to let go. He feels the weight of it all. Tala saved him, Koda gave him a chance, and this village became his shelter. But those men out there won't stop. They'll burn it all down for a fistful of gold. Jacob's hands shake. He could run, slip away in the night, save himself while they fight. Or he could stand with these people, risk everything, for a place he barely knows. His chest tightens. He's never been brave, not like this. The choice claws at him, heavy and real. Tala gathers the village, her voice steady, cutting through. The fear, she says they'll fight, not with bullets, but with the land itself. Koda nods, pointing to the prairie, stretching wide around them. He knows every dip, every rise, every trick the earth can play. They'll use it, turn it against the riders. Jacob listens, his mind racing. He's no warrior, but he knows dirt and stone, how they shift and hide. He steps forward, voice shaky, at first then stronger. He tells them about a spot nearby, a marsh tucked under thick grass, soft and wet, where it looks solid. If they lure the riders there, their horses will sink, their plans will stall. Tala tilts her head, considering. Koda studies him, then agrees. It's a trap, a lie made of mud and cunning, to make the riders think this land's not worth the fight. They work fast. Tala picks a handful of scouts, swift and quiet, to ride out and taunt the men, draw them in. Koda maps the path, his hands tracing lines in the dirt, showing where the grass hides the marsh. Jacob climbs a low hill with them, pointing out the soft spots he's seen, the places where the earth dips just enough to fool a stranger. The village buzzes with purpose, women tying bundles, men sharpening spears, children watching wide-eyed. The riders creep closer, their shouts drifting on the wind. Jacob's throat dries up. He's part of this now. No turning back. Tala claps his arm, says he's doing good. Koda grunts, a sound close to trust. The trap's set, but the danger's real. One wrong step, and it's over. Jacob breathes deep, the prairie vast and waiting around him. The sun dips low, casting long shadows over the prairie, as Tala rides out first. Her horse moves fast, kicking up dust, her shouts sharp and taunting. The riders take the bait, their leader snarling as he spurs his men forward. Jacob watches from the hill, his heart thumping hard, hands sweaty around a stick he grips for courage. Koda waits nearby, calm and steady, his eyes on the grass. The plan's simple but risky. They lead the riders straight to the marsh, a stretch of soft mud hidden under thick green blades. Tala weaves through the terrain, dodging their shots, her laughter ringing out, daring them to follow. Jacob holds his breath. The ground looks solid, but he knows better. The riders charge in, horses pounding the earth, their yells loud and fierce. Then it happens. The lead horse stumbles, its legs sinking fast into the wet muck. Another follows, then another, hooves thrashing as the marsh swallows them deep. The men curse, tumble off, their guns useless in the chaos. Tala circles back, her spear raised, and the Sioux rise, from the grass around them dozens strong. Koda steps forward, his voice booming, telling the riders to drop their weapons. They're surrounded, outnumbered, trapped in the mud. They didn't see coming. Jacob feels a rush, a mix of fear and pride. The land fought with them, just like they planned. The leader climbs free, his boots heavy with sludge, his face red with fury. He locks eyes with Jacob, spitting words thick with hate. He says Jacob's a traitor, a dead man no matter where he runs. Jacob steps closer, legs shaky but firm, and faces him. He says the gold's a lie, not enough to fill a bucket, let alone a fortune. He knew it all along, kept it quiet until now. The leader's jaw tightens, his fist clenching, but doubt flickers in his glare. Jacob presses on, voice steady. He says this land's not worth their blood, not for a few flakes of dust. The Sioux watch, silent, their presence a wall the riders can't break. The leader looks around, sees his men stuck, sees the spears glinting in the fading light. He spits again, turns, and calls his crew to pull out. The riders limp away, dragging their horses free, their shouts fading into the wind. The prairie grows still, the marsh settling back to quiet. Tala lowers her spear, her chest heaving, a rare grin breaking across her face. Koda nods at Jacob, a slow gesture of respect. The village breathes easy, the threat gone, their land safe. That night they gather by the fire, voices soft with relief. They offer Jacob a place, call him friend, their eyes warm where they once were cold. He sits with them, the crackle of flames filling the silence, and feels something new. He belongs for a moment, but he knows he can't stay. Those men might come back, or others like them, hungry for more. He decides then, he'll go back to his world, fight to stop them there, keep this land untouched. Morning comes, pale and crisp. Jacob packs light, his shoulder still stiff but healing. He walks to the edge of the village, turns for one last look. Tala stands tall, her braids swaying in the breeze, her gaze steady as ever. Koda lifts a hand, a quiet farewell. Jacob steps onto the prairie, the grass brushing his legs, the wind whispering soft around him. It carries echoes of their lessons, the spirits in the earth, the circle he's part of now. He keeps walking, the village shrinking behind him, but he feels stronger, surer. This isn't the end. It's a start. The land stays safe, and he carries its truth with him.